Okay, got the countdown going?
Yep, got it.
All right, so supposedly we're live. So let me just double check. I believe we are live. All right, so yes, we are live. So welcome everybody. Tonight it's a little different segment. It's called Ask the Crew, and I'm on live tonight with Will Morton from the Attack
Oh,
Yamaha crew. What is up, Will?
enjoying my California weather. It's cold, but enjoying the time off and waiting for the season to start. When we start getting the ball rolling, Daytona round one's becoming a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know that we've been out testing at Buttonwillow a million times, right? Like we got
Yeah,
another test scheduled next week. So, what's up with that?
yeah. I was looking forward to it because I've been trying to dump off on the truck so that way I don't have to fly with so much stuff to Daytona and test after Daytona. So I was going to come back and I was going to get all my my wife Monica. She's coming out to hang out with us for a few days and races. We're going to go down to Miami for a little bit. So I was kind of counting on that, but now sounds like we might not be going. I know we're super bike, but with
Yeah,
Cameron possibly having some surgery stuff. So I don't know. We'll see.
yeah. And just to clarify, Cam's not having surgery because he fucked up and broke something on the off season, right? Like he's
Uh,
doing like he's doing little maintenance,
Maintenance
right?
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, I
That
think it'll be good, and well, I know it'll be. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still looking forward to it. If we have to go, work to do still on the bikes, and if we go, we go. If we don't, we don't.
Yeah, I haven't actually gotten the memo yet because I kind of have to be there every time, regardless, right? Like,
Yeah.
I gotta hit the green button on orbits
I mean,
to do
there's
this.
always something to do. And even
Yeah,
if we go, the number one side has a lot of work to do too.
yeah.
Might be there. So I don't know. We'll see.
So how'd you become this? How'd you become the guy? Like, I've known you now since basically ever since you've been part of the Attack program, right? I mean, back when Richard was working for Amin, you were kind of like working on the bikes then, and pretty much Richard never got rid of you. So like, and you
Yeah.
never left. So
I kind of earned my stripes.
how'd you become this?
It's pretty
What?
cool. I earned my stripes with Richard. In the beginning, so I didn't know him very well. I knew who he was. I knew for anybody, so I wasn't worthy enough until you earn your stripes around for a little bit, and then he kind of brings you in, and then you're and it's great to feel that way, and that's what makes me continue on with him. It's great working for Richard, but with my racing stuff, it all started with Wyatt Ferris doing some club stuff, and then some press stuff, and then
Yeah,
we moved. Wyatt was on the team with the Mean team back in I think, and I was working at dealerships and doing stuff, and I thought, and then 13 turned into I think our own thing afterwards, or no, we went to Celtic Suzuki for, and then I've always been involved with the Mean team till the end, and then I think
mm,
we 2017.
yeah.
Um,
So I'm gonna stop you for just one second.
yeah,
I'm getting a bunch of complaints that people are saying that you're kind of cutting in and out, and it doesn't look like you're cutting in and out to me. I can hear you clearly fine, but you know, I don't know, man. Like I
I
was
don't
thinking
know.
maybe
Something I
I
can
could
do.
have you at the bottom of the screen hit leave and then come back in. Maybe
Let's
there's
try
something
that.
up with your internet or something. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Like, I just want to make sure that that you guys could hear him and everything okay. So he left the chat. He's gonna come back in, and we'll continue on with him. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the NorCal thing. I don't know. Just gonna talk shit until he gets back on. But yeah, like he's got an interesting story, you guys. Like Man, I hope this goes well because, man, Will's such a good dude. So let's see if he connects back on for a second. Oh, here he comes back. Perfect. Looks like he's coming back any second now. Well, looked like he was coming back. I don't know what happened. Yeah, so whatever. Yeah, I'm the IT guy, right? Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, I can't control the other. Oh, look, there he is.
Oh, is it working now?
He's sexy as hell again, so that's
Is
great.
it working now? I don't know. It seems all normal, man.
Yeah, it looks normal to me, man. Like you're great. So, by the way, there's a few commenters here already. Mark Gagne says that great guy that Will. Oh look, hi.
I'm trying to work on my beard like Mark Gagne's.
Yeah, well, you got some time before that happens, right? So, but yeah, so let's just go through some of the comments. Apparently, it says this Ashley Nicole says, "Hi, Dad, it's James." Yeah. All right, so let's get back to the chat, right? Like you're, I remember you were talking about Wyatt Ferris and a couple other riders, like how you became the guy or whatever. So talk a little bit more about that.
So then. With the mean team, it was after Richard picked up from there to continue on with Yamaha's Superbike, and Richard asked me to, if I'd be willing to come along, and I was like, yeah. So we stayed with the team, and we've been with them. And we weren't always as well as we are now, but Richard fought every. And I love that about Richard, is that working with a team for everything. And we were down to just a handful of guys working the truck and still be as efficient and fast to get the truck. And whether we're trying to get out of there or we're trying to set up the pits, we don't the first ones to get it done. And it was cool when we were just a small crew, and now we're a bigger crew and we're more powerful because we work the same exact way.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I have this thing where I got to really get a good look at you guys the first year of the Yamaha thing because I got to travel with the team quite a bit. And, we were in, I think we were in Washington, and I roll up, and you guys had the rig set up and the pit set up in like an hour. I was like, what, dude? Like the whole canopy, everything. And I'm like, that's a lot of shit to do in an hour.
And back then, Richard was a big help. He was a worker with us. These days, maybe a little more ownership.
Shit. Oh, wow, dude. Let me.
He's going to whoop me later, but.
I think I left my waders upstairs, man. Holy shit. Are you saying like Richard just sits back and supervises now?
Not always. Sometimes he should be, but not always.
Wow. That's some funny shit, man.
Well, we all have our positions on the team, and like Lee and I are the top guys. We load the top truck, and then you got the other crew that loads the bottom truck. There's really not a lot of room for too many people, anyways. So everyone's got their spot, and everyone works efficiently, and that's the reason why it works like a clock when we're loading up or when we're setting up. Everyone's got their jobs, and it all goes very quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, I mean. Everybody that's been to a Moto America race can see that you guys work efficiently. I don't think I've ever seen somebody walk so fast with a motorcycle attached to their hip.
Now you sound like Lee's always like, man, you're walking too fast.
Yeah.
Walker Fox. I have to jog when I'm walking with Walker.
Oh yeah. Well, Walker doesn't even have a pause button, right? Like that dude. That dude's like 200 mile an hour. Oh yeah. And by the way, we're getting some comments. 848 Evo says, "Don't worry, Richard's not going to watch this anyway."
He's probably not. Waste of his time.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. But yeah, so yeah, Gil Ramos says it's the short leg syndrome. So there you go. Yeah, shots fired. Yeah. So okay. So I mean, you were telling this story last week at dinner. About Road Atlanta trip in 2018 and how you guys got stuck there. And Talk a little bit about that, dude.
Oh, Road Atlanta, that was round one,
Yeah. Yeah.
2018. Yeah, it was unfortunate. Like Fernando and I, we arrived at Atlanta and we're just kind of hanging out, thinking in our dress gear, we're ready to set up, and we're like, all right. Well, lots of times back then, the truck sometimes wouldn't get there until the morning of, or we don't know if it's going to show up during our setup time or what was going on. So then we got the call that they were kind of broke down and still working on the truck, and
Yeah.
well, what do we do now? So we started scoping out where we're going to pit, like maybe there's something we can do, and then. Uh, we find out that okay, well they're not going to make it to the first day. Okay, well maybe tomorrow. So we'll just figure out what we're going to do, and kind of hung out and just kind of hung out until the day after setup day. This is Wednesday, Thursday. So now we're starting to think about practice times. Like what practices do we have to make in order to make the event? Can they make it by that time? And during that time, we find out truck's not going to make it when Walker says, "I got to bring some customer stuff out to you and
Yeah.
rent your truck and bring it out to you." And I was like, "Okay, well now the truck's not going to come, so we got to figure out what we're going to do." And at that time, Josh still had his R1S in the back of his pickup truck, and he's like, "Hey, maybe we can get this thing to work." And I was like, "All right, well, we'll try it." I mean, well, I'm here. I was like,
Yeah.
"But I need some basic things. I need a handful of tools, 10 millimeter here, and maybe a couple of Allen sockets, and then maybe a 10 by 10 canopy because it was raining that weekend." So he got a canopy, he got a handful of tools, and he got the bike down. And we were like, all right, well, let's start taking all the street bike stuff off and see where it takes us.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a set of forks show up with some FKR stuff, just kind of super stock stuff.
Yeah.
And a shock shows up, and then a set of bodywork shows up, the wrong color, but the wrong set of bodywork shows up, and we find a can of paint. We find all the parts, and Fernando's over there hand cutting stickers to put on the side of the bike, to put Attack Performance on the side of the bike, and
Yeah.
it was a bit silly, but we were able to get the bike together, and it was a lot of fun doing it. I left the license plate on it when we went out to practice, and Motor America said, "Yeah, you got to take the license plate off because it was
stock as shit."
Yeah, it was all stock. So
Yeah. Well, the reason why that came up was because last week at the test, obviously, the Westby rig used to be the Attack rig, right? They lease it from Richard, and it sounds like something similar happened to the tractor that happened in 2018, right?
oh yeah, they had a tractor fail on them, and then that's right, they had to I think lease a truck, or it's like an Uber truck that takes your trailer out to wherever the destination is.
Yeah, and the dude seemed like a fan too. Like he seemed like a big time fan of the sport and was stoked to be connected to the team, just hauling the rig out there. I was like, Richard, that doesn't look like your truck, man. What the fuck happened? Right?
That thing was kind of a cool looking truck.
It was like a lowrider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty
I was
neat.
like, does ours drop like that? That thing was pretty cool.
Yeah. You know what? There's speaking of that, I'm gonna save it for later, but there's Bearded Jixer. He's actually one of our CRA racers, and his name's Ernie. But Ernie asks to what brand of battery were they using? And I think I don't remember the brand. I had it in my hand on Saturday because they left it in the garage. But I think Richard's going to talk about that at length tomorrow night.
I don't know what battery they had, and I don't know the sequence of what burned, and I don't know like a real breakdown of what exactly happened. I know I think Chuck Giacchetto mentioned something about a battery, and then I heard possibly the battery is what failed. I don't know for certain because I didn't investigate what exactly happened.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? It looked like, the way Melissa Paris described it was that if you could imagine taking all the chemicals for a battery and putting them in a bag. Like, I had it in my hand, dude. That's what it looks like. It looks like a bag of shit, like with wires sticking out of it. I don't know.
I saw. I think they ripped it off the bike and threw it on the ground. And, I mean, that thing looked awful. And I don't know, like you said, I don't know what kind of battery they use. I mean, Richard knows, and
Yeah.
I know our batteries have never had that issue, but it does make me fearful of lithium ion, and you hear all these stories about lithium
Yeah.
ion from jet airplanes to little RC cars, like they can do awful things. So, and unpredictable things, and when they happen, it's catastrophic. So it's when you got a $150,000 machine, you want to be able to yank that thing out and throw it. You don't
Yeah.
want it near it.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk about that. Like, holy shit, if what if that had happened while nobody was there? What if that
Absolutely.
thing was what if that thing was plugged in into the garage overnight and it popped when nobody was there? Like, we could have lost that whole row of garages and everything in it.
No, it's awful. It's
Yeah.
awful. Yeah. And everything in it with all of our equipment next door to it,
Yeah.
our bikes aren't in there, but we need the equipment still.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's like it's a lot of shit, and I think we were talking about it. We're like, holy shit, dude, that's the same thing that Formula E thing happened, right? Something.
Like, and then those things that, I mean, I don't know how volatile a lithium battery is. If it's the workmanship of the battery, or is it the how you maintenance it? I don't know a lot about lithium on how it can get to that stage.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, like I said, those little bag battery things look nothing like any of the other batteries I've ever looked at or worked with ever. And I was like touching them. I'm like, shit, maybe I should go wash my hands. Maybe I shouldn't touch my clothes after touching this battery,
Yeah, the
right?
old days it's got acid in it, right? You don't want to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so who knows what that shit is, but yeah, it was kind of interesting. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Like, you became this guy, but you were involved in racing quite a bit for quite a while before that, right? So talk a little bit about that, man. Like, I know you did some racing. I want to say you were hanging out in the turn one area at Willow, getting dirty with the rest of the two-stroke guys, right?
Yeah, so I started, I went to MMI in like 95, 96, and
Okay.
my first time ever on the racetrack was at Firebird Raceway. And I was a cool street bike guy, and I had a CBR 900, and I thought that was the hottest thing. And so I decided to go do a track day out at Firebird,
Okay.
and it was the best thing I ever did. I mean, it was so impressive to me. I was like, I'm done riding on the street. I don't want to do this stuff anymore. I want to go on the track. That's great. So I was going to MMI at the time, and MMI had a couple of guys there. I think there was a Yamaha guy that the Yamaha teacher had a TZ250 in the showroom. I mean, in the classroom, which was really cool. And then another guy, I think he was a Cowie teacher. He said the 125 Grand Prix bikes are some of the best bikes to start out on. So at that time, I bought a 94 RS 125, and that's what got me started. So I did that for a little while, and then I did that at CCS Southwest. So
Yes.
we did Las Vegas, we did Firebird.
Street to Willow, Button Willow.
Yep, Sir Twilla, and so that was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
then after I finished MMI, I went to Japan and I worked in Japan, and I did do a couple of club events there.
Okay.
Then that was a lot of fun. There was like a ton of 125 stuff there, so that was a blast. And I ended up hurting myself during one of the events, so that's kind of what it made me wanting to come home. So I came home and I started racing AFM in 1998. And did that for I raced the last race in '98, so not the whole season. And then I did that until 2007.
No
And
shit.
I mostly 125s, and then for like 6-7 years, and then 250 the remainder time. And the 250 is, I love the bikes that I work on. I love these four strokes. I love the super bikes. I love the R6, but man, the TZ and the RS 250s are by far the funnest things to ride. They're horrible to work on because the amount of maintenance it requires. But
Yeah.
I'm a gearhead myself, and I think that's what made me more disciplined about being more diligent on doing everything properly on the engines
Yeah.
and doing maintenance on them.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've shadowed you a lot on the team the last several years, and I've always given you shit, and I mean, you're not as I guess you're not as OCD your counterpart on that side of the garage.
Yeah.
Lee's pretty OCD.
No, I mean that's why all of our stuff is always spotless. And where I fail, he goes, "Hey, what's up with this?" I love that.
Yeah. But I've learned a lot from watching you guys as well, because I mean, even for the club bike that I ride, following what you're saying, it's like, dude, you need to pull the calipers, you need to scrub them with a fucking toothbrush, it's every little thing helps. And then while you're doing that, you find things that are fucked up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's pretty important watching you do that. But you and I were talking when we first started hanging out, right? Like at the Ridge, I think we shared a rental car and stuff.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about the two-stroke stuff, and man, like we were probably at Willow at the same time. I was just in turn 9. You were in turn 1 with all the two-stroke people, right?
Yeah, I mean, Willow was cool on a 250. I think the fast guy there was obviously Rich Oliver, and then Mark Watts. Mark Watts was more of a consistent guy there. I mean, that guy, I mean, he knew that track so well. So he's like, "Hey, yeah, you wanna? I'll give you a tow." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So we go out, and we do one lap, and I'm like, "All right," I'm thinking I'm getting warmed up, and this is his flyer, his out lap. So he does a flyer on his out lap, and then he does one hot lap, and then he comes in, and he's like, "Practice is done for me." And I'm like, "What? Wait!" And then the second lap, I couldn't keep up with them, and I was like, "That's my fastest lap I've ever done at this track, just following this guy in practice."
Oh my God! Did you? I remember walking around the pits back then, and you could always spot the two-stroke guys because they were dirty, right?
Yeah. Well, because we're always taking engines apart. Pistons are coming out every session. You're changing gearboxes.
Right.
I mean, you're so busy just always working, and then you're like, all right, shoving dirty, greasy hands back into your gloves so you can go back out and do it again.
Yeah, Gil reminds me that also to not forget to mention Vicky Jackson Bell.
Oh yeah. She was.
I mean, dude, I can remember we at the time Gil's talking about, we were all in Honda 600s, like F2s and F3s, right?
Yeah.
And we would have loved to be able to go as fast at Willow on our 600 as Vicky was on her 125. Like
I think
27s. Yeah, it was like 27s or something. 27 flat.
26 something.
Yeah, maybe.
I was there that weekend, and I think the temperatures are like 105 degrees out, and I was racing a 125. And when people say, like, you hear these people nowadays, they're like, oh, girls are fast, but they don't have that little bit. And I'm like, man, I raced a 125 for years, and she would smoke everybody every weekend consistently.
Yes.
And we put a lot of effort towards our program, and obviously we're racing club stuff, but she's done pro stuff, and she's raced with pros, and she was no slouch for sure.
Did you do any of the Willow Springs, like the 250/50 or any of that?
I went down there to test for the 250/50 before the incident where someone got really, someone passed in turn 8 or 9.
Jesus.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I was in the 200 after that.
Yeah, I went down there to test to go do that event, and I was like, man, this is my opportunity to race against really fast guys.
Yeah.
And I'd go to AFM race, and it was fast in Formula 1, but Formula 2 with the 250s, there wasn't enough guys in it. So
yeah,
I'm kind of bummed. I wanted to go where the really fast guys went, and to see how I measure.
Yeah.
And but then when I followed Mark Watts, I learned through certain corners there, and I've turned my laps at Willow. I've been to Willow a handful of times, and I can go pretty decent and hold my own. But when I followed Watts, I said, when I go through turn 8 on the stick on a 250, and that bike is moving around in 6th gear on the stick, it's the only time I thought to myself, I don't know if I want to do this every single lap. I can do it for one hot one, but every lap, that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
In order to front. And I was like, this is the only time I've ever said, no, I'm good. I'm okay with that. And then I never did the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean that place is a little different, right? I mean, there's not a lot of places where you're like knee down and on the stick in 6th gear, right? Like,
oh yeah.
It was always a good time, man.
It's the only time it kind of, and at that time, they say, you have family, you have kids, you got wife, you're gonna slow down. I never felt that way, other than that one corner.
Yeah.
Turn 8. I'm good. I don't need to do that.
Is that kind of like when you decided to kind of end your racing, or what?
No, I think we did. Well, maybe because I think that was around that time. My last race I did was a USGPRU race
Okay.
when we went to Miller, and uh, the PJ Jacobson was on a 125 at that time.
Oh shit.
Uh, there was another guy who raced for American Honda in Canada. He was on a 250. I think I finished third that weekend because I had a qualifier where I think I was too light. Oh, my bike was too light by a pound or two because I went by GP rules, not by their rules.
Right.
And then they put me on the back row, even though I was on the front row for qualifying. And
Right.
the back row was like
Seven.
70 riders in the back.
Yeah. It's like you're the back of the AFM grid kind of thing.
Oh yeah. And I
Right.
told them, I said, this might be a little dangerous, but Miller's a big enough track where I went from the back row. I think by the end of lap 1, I think I was third or fourth. But then the guys are gone. There's no way else
Yeah.
to. But that was my last race, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad to see some of the guys that I raced against went to much bigger and larger things. And that was one of the things I really loved about racing the two strokes was a lot of kids came through. So I was there to try to keep the kids honest, and
Nice.
and the kids that went through moved on and got faster and faster. And it was awesome.
That's cool, man. So, what were you doing to afford to go racing like that back then?
So I worked at dealerships. So after I came back from Japan, I worked at dealerships. I think my first shop was Concord Motorsports, and then worked there on and off for 11 years. Worked at Roseville Cycle with Mike Canfield. That's when I really got to know Mike a lot, and they had a performance center there, and then that's when I met the Boyers.
Oh wow.
Cameron Bobier used to go there or his father used to go there and buy Cam stuff. Cam was just a young person back then.
Yeah, like a 12-year-old Cambodia is not walking into a shop buying parts.
No. But his bikes, his supermoto stuff or whatever, he would come in there, and I think they used to go down to Stockton all the time, ride Stockton track. Him and I think Elena used to go down there.
Yeah.
With, I think Matt Myers used to run the track at that time.
Okay.
And then from there, came back to working at dealerships, back to Concord for a little while. It was turned into MDK, if you remember MDK. If you watched
MDK,
it.
yeah.
So MDK took it, and then I moved to Mach 1 Motorsports, spent some time at Mach 1 Motorsports, which is just outside of Sonoma Raceway. And then I started my own gig from there, mostly because I had kids and I wanted to spend more time at home, and started doing some small stuff out of the garage, but still working at the dealership. And then the small stuff turned into bigger stuff turned into a shop, and that's how I ended up here now.
So, you were a bartender too for a minute, right? Like,
Oh yeah. So during that racing career, when I was racing, I was bartending for 10 years to be able to make a little bit more money. So I'd work 3 nights a week in San Francisco bartending, and then work in Concord during the day. And I did the commute a few times from Roseville to San Francisco, but that's like a 5-hour drive. So I was like, I'm not doing that ever again.
oh, you didn't become one of those like Bart dudes?
No, well, the BART don't go that far. So,
I don't know.
yeah, BART only goes in mostly the Bay Area, where I was all the way out in Roseville, which is north of Sacramento.
Oh shit.
So
Like by Thunder Hill, right? Like kind of.
yeah. Right. So
Shit, dude.
it's a bit of a drive for sure. So unfortunately, I like bartending, and I was torn between bartending or riding motorcycles, and I love motorcycles and I love bartending, but I don't know. I just stuck with my passion, so we're still doing it.
So you have a shop up there. It's called M-Works, right?
Yep.
So where is that shop located, dude?
So I'm almost exactly in between San Francisco and Sacramento on Interstate 80, right near 505, where 505 splits to go north. If you're going to go north if you're anywhere in the Bay Area and you go north, you're going to take 505 if you're going to like the Thunder Hill or something like that.
And how long have you been at that location?
I've been this location. I've been here 5 years now, and then I was at another different place running still the same thing in Sassoon, which I was there for 3 years.
Wow.
And then let's see.
So you mean to tell me you don't make a living doing this fly-in race team guy thing?
I wish. I wish I could do that. Maybe the old days, but not anymore. I would love to be just, a racer only and working at the shop full time and going racing. But I don't. Nowadays, it's kind of tough being able to have a family and pay the bills with that.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. So you're the fly-in dude. You kind of I guess side hustle with the race team, and then you're full time at MWorks. So you I guess you what kind of work do you do over there? I mean, are you like a art the everybody says you're like the R6 specialist, even though I've only really known you as the R1 guy, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, doing the pro stuff, it's R1 only, and it's kind of
Yeah.
amazing when I come back to the shop. There's some R1 guys out there, and I'm not trying to scour all of the work. So it's like, hey, if you're happy with going to that R1 guy, that's cool, man. I mean, I know a few things about R1s, so it's sometimes I just it's like, hey, if you like your guy, I'm not trying to poach everyone, but I know a lot. I know a lot more about R1s and R6s, but R6s is 90% of what I do here at the shop. I do 636s. I do engines for those. I can do anything. Suzuki's. I've even done a handful of Goldwing engines. But
Oh, no shit.
yeah, I mean, if
So you're not a snob. You're like gonna be like, nope, it's got carburetors. Take it to that other guy.
I mean, I'm a snob if it's too cheap, So if it's like a guy comes in, man, I got this bike for $500. What do you mean it's gonna be 700 to fix it? Like, yeah, I don't need that. So, but no, I do other stuff too. We do have a dyno. We have a chassis dyno here. I do full suspension service, electronics. We do. I can build harnesses. I can build engines. But I just kind of provide something that local club guys have an option to be close to home if they're around in Northern California, to give them an option so they don't have to travel too far away to get what they need done. And
That's cool, man.
uh, and there's a lot of guys that do it. And
By the way, your wife reminds me that it's in Vacaville, California, where the shop
in
is.
Jacksonville, California. Yeah, I didn't say the city.
No. You said, well, because nobody knows where the fuck Vacaville is.
Nope. I guess you could say Nut Tree. There's a Nut Tree airport that's here, and I think more people know what Nut Tree is because it
Yeah.
used to have a big sign that was off of 80 that said Nut Tree on the side of it.
Yeah. And there's a couple of people asking to post the contact info for the shop, and I'll post that stuff in the description after we're done talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'll post up how to find him on social media and where his fucking website is and phone number and all that. So
Yeah, I'm not really well known because I don't. My doors are closed during the day, and because I only deal with racers, I don't deal with the average guy rolling in the door. Most of the stuff that I do that are outside of race bikes are old customers or guys that race that have something that they're like, hey, I got a YZF 450 that I need something done on it. And I'm like, all right, I'll do that too.
I mean, I knew you started working on. I knew you were working on customer bikes, kind of by accident. I went up to race at Thunder Hill in 2021 with my R1, and I had done that video with Richard about the R1 electronics, and one of your customers, I didn't know he was one of your customers till after.
Yeah.
But he came up to me and was like, "Hey man, I'm having trouble with my electronics. Could you give me a hand?" And I brought my laptop over and I got him dialed in, and then later on, you and I were talking. You're like, "Yeah, man, thanks for taking care of what's his name?"
Yeah. No, that was
I was
cool.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, "Oh shit, that's awesome, man."
No, it's a small world for sure. And when guys are at the track, and I like that, guys like yourself that I know that are at the track. I'm not always there because I'm lots of times I'm on the road with the pro stuff, and unfortunately I can't be there. And then the big thing is I want everyone to be happy with, getting the service that they need and
Yeah.
being able to enjoy their weekend because then they're going to continue on racing, whether it's with me or whether it's with someone else.
Right.
Just continue racing to keep growing the clubs and keep people out there riding motorcycles it's really cool. I mean, I really love the whole industry. I don't just love what I do. I love, the industry and everyone's having a good time. It's good.
I mean, everybody knows that I'm kind of pretty partial to the Attack program, clearly, right? I mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Of
But
course.
you know what? I like you. I think the same way. I mean, we've got Bryce Prince out there this past weekend, and I shit you not, Will. The Stock 1000 or the Super Sport 1000 race. I'm up in the tower with Gigi and Dan and Jeff. Where the race is happening, and the guys are gridding up, and I'm looking at the grid, and I'm like, holy shit! It looks like the BPR Cup, right? Like fucking half the bikes are BPR bikes.
I mean, he does a great job, and
He does.
customers love him, so that's good.
Yeah.
And Bryce is a really good dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got quite the following, man, and a bunch of guys are running his stuff, and I think it's rad that he's able to do that, and I guess he's a dealership owner now. Like, dude owns a Yamaha dealer.
Yeah, he owns a dealership out in Bakersfield. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
who wants to live in Bakersfield, but if you want to, I guess people
Dude,
out there want motorcycles, so that's
I
cool.
I'll be honest with you, man. Last several years, Bryce has bought a bunch of my fleet bikes, put them in his dealer floor.
No, that's cool.
Right? So I'm stoked on it, man. Good for him.
Yeah,
I've known that kid since he was 13, I think. So watching him come up, it's been fun.
Well, I remember Bryce the days when I look at his bike and I was like, dude, that thing's a rat nest. You should like take it apart and fix it.
Yeah,
And
bro.
now he's the one that's doing all the work, and he's
Yeah.
probably telling others, hey, that's a rat nest. You need to let me take it so I can fix it.
Gil Ramos is saying that you're welcome to abuse his pile if you'd like it any track day you like. So
Oh, for a track day.
I guess he
Yeah.
wants you to ride his pile.
I haven't ridden on a track in so long. Once, and then I rode a TZ about maybe 5 years ago at Sonoma. And I thought I was going to get creamed by somebody who's at a Yamaha day.
Wow. It wasn't Dak Shepard, was it? I said that out loud. What? Right? Yeah. I mean, look, I've been trying to scumbag Richard into coming out and riding again. Years ago, I bought him a helmet and everything, and he just is never, he's just never not on the pin,
Oh, he's always busy. Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's he has to make the time in order to do anything cool or fun. That's where I think he does enjoy, and we all enjoy when we're on the road because he can't work on anything when we're done at the racetrack and we go back to the hotel or go to a restaurant. And it's like, if he could, he'd be working on stuff at the hotel room. And he does electronically, but he can't physically machine anything while he's there. So I think it's the only time he gets rest.
yeah. So, there's a guy saying, is there a beef with Dax? No, there's no beef with Dax. We fucking love that guy. But, I mean, the word on the street was he bashed into somebody at a Yamaha day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, that's why I said that.
Yamaha days are so crowded. I'm surprised a guy like that would even show up to a Yamaha day.
Well, I mean, he's a Yamaha guy, he's a Yamaha
Yeah.
ambassador or something. So, like, he comes out and, dude, he's actually a pretty good rider, Of those celebrity dudes, there's like a group of them that comes out. Like, he's a pretty good rider,
Yeah.
Gotten to ride with him quite a bit, and some of the other ones as well. I just said that because the word
It's
on the
fun.
street, right? and it's fun. Like, whatever, who cares? But yeah, okay. So you were talking about being on the road, man, and this being part of the program, it's afforded you the ability to travel the country every year, right? On the Moto America circuit, and then obviously last year the team went to Portugal. So how was Portugal for you? Like, fly in, dude.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I wish I was there for the packaging and the preparation because then I would have been a little bit more rehearsed when it came to removing stuff out of the boxes, flight cases, and reassembling the flight cases. So I was kind of like, all right, you just tell me what to do, I'll just do it because I have no idea what to do. And usually, like I said, when we're on the road, we have all our jobs, and we just go and do them.
Yeah.
But when you're out of the loop, it's kind of like I don't know what to do. I'll just sit here and hold this granola bar until you eat this thing until you tell me what to do.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was there. I mean, how many trips to the sticker guy in town did I have to make, right? I mean, it's when a guy like Walker, he's on the pin all the time, and he doesn't sleep. It's only a matter of time before something gets left at home, right?
I mean, there's so many things to do. I mean, really, it's probably a three-man job, and we're trying to do it on, what we can.
Right.
And it is what it is, and we manage to make it happen every time. And one thing that Richard is, he's very resourceful, and he'll send a guy to the sticker shop in the middle of what country we don't even speak the language, and we're going to get stickers made.
And I fucking did too, right?
Like, when they were wrong, you went back and you got them done again, and the guy was totally like, "I'll drop what I'm doing and do it."
The guy, we just lucked out. The sticker guy that we were in touch with was a fan.
That's awesome.
The guy was stoked. I hooked him up with some Attack shit after, and he was stoked. Yeah. So appreciate that guy's help too, man. Local guy right there, like in town, to be open on race weekend. Like, stop what he was doing.
It's cool. Like, I mean, can you ever repay someone like that? Imagine someone comes into your place and says, "Hey, man, can you do this? We're on the race team and we need it done right now." And everyone would be like, "Dude, I got
go fuck yourself." Yeah.
Yeah. No thanks. I don't care who you are.
I'm dude. Exactly. Hey, Gil is asking what your travel bag looks like. Like, how much in your travel bag is for your stash of supplies?
So my travel bag, I have a Pelican, and it's a hard case, and I have just enough stuff to last me 6 days on the road. So I get it down to all of my stuff is just for travel. I have no extra clothes. Richard loves running a tight ship, so after the day's done, we go straight to eat something, and there's no going home back to the hotel and showering and getting in your nice duds and going out for a nice cocktail. No. You eat your food, you go to bed. So my bags are pretty minimal. I'm a bit of a minimalistic person when I'm on the road now. Right
on. Yeah, I mean, we were, Lily and I, when we went out there, we were on vacation, and the Portugal trip was just like a wing of the vacation. Right?
I'm so jealous when you guys have been there for so long already. We're like dead tired, and I'm like, I slept like 2 hours, and we're about to unload the truck. Where's the stuff? We got to start going to work. And you guys have been enjoying yourselves, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So I think if I go to Portugal with you guys again, like it'll just be me and on your guys' schedule, But that was fun. So what was what's your favorite place on the circuit to go to? Like
my favorite place, I think I really like Road America. I like Wisconsin. I didn't like Wisconsin in the years past, AMA days, early Moto America days, because it was in the early season and it was raining almost every single weekend. Yeah. Every time you go there, it's raining. Now that they switched it to the summer, man, Wisconsin is a beautiful place in the summer. I mean, out of all the places in the country that we go, I really like that place in the summer. It's there are a lot of cool places that we go. I do like Alabama also, but early days like before, we used to go in August, and it was the worst place because it was so
swamp ass.
Oh, right? It's so swampy. It was so bad, and it's so hot, and loading the truck and just doing anything was so hot.
Yeah. I mean, Alabama in August. Oof.
It's awful. But now they switched that around to more nicer time, and Alabama's beautiful, and I think Wisconsin's probably my favorite. Now, obviously Laguna. I'm partial Laguna, but that's home track for me. I do like what you do outside of the racetrack is really.
Yeah.
There's a lot more things to do at Laguna for sure.
So I got some more comments coming in. Cuddy Taylor says that he heard that you use the same underwear for a week.
I wish if that was a thing, I would do it just to make sure that we keep. If we can pull a W, I'll do that for
Oh
sure.
my goodness!
Those
Wow, the magic underwear. Holy shit!
I'd wear magic underwear
Okay,
if I had magic underwear.
and then your wife is saying that you pack that way unless she's coming along. Then,
Oh, yeah.
then the club gear comes with her. Yeah,
We have to pack more bags,
Yeah.
and basically, I got more stuff to carry. And being the minimalist as I am when I'm traveling, I'm not excited.
And then 848 Evo is commenting again, and he says it sucks to not have VIR this year. Is that a track that you like going to?
I like VIR. I like the track itself. I like going to VIR. It's not greatest accommodations as far as a travel guy goes, but the track itself is cool. I like that we're in an area. I like going to North Carolina, so that's where we end up flying into is Raleigh Durham, and then we drive up to Southern Virginia. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. We've been going there for so long, and it's a lot of these tracks like Sonoma, now VIR. We used to go to so many different tracks, and now they're kind of disappearing.
That sucks. It sucks for the West Coast people too, because we get one round. Or
Yeah.
well, 2 rounds if you count the Washington round, right? But I mean, it used to be Sonoma, Laguna, Miller, Willow
Miller.
Springs, right? And now
Willow Springs, back
Cali
in the
Photography, yeah. Sorry, Cali Speedway.
yeah,
Montana.
California Speedway, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's all those tracks, and now it's just Laguna.
Yeah, I wish we'd go to Southern California more, at least one round, because it's such a big community of motorcycling down there. But
Yeah, I mean, Cam Bobier was like at the Ridge. He was like, man, if we're gonna race here, why don't we have a round at Thunder Hill, shit, or Bud Willow,
yeah, seriously, it's not much different,
right? So
And it's not. I mean, the track is cool, and I like going to the northwest, but there's not a lot of things to do there, and I don't know. Maybe we pull. I don't know the customer base if we're pulling guys from people from Canada or not. Maybe people come down from Canada. It's not too far.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so okay, so what's your least favorite track to go to?
My least favorite.
Brainerd.
Yeah, Brainerd or probably Brainerd's a tough place.
Dude, it's just a drive to get there, man. Holy shit.
I was just telling
y'all didn't tell me until I did it.
Brainerd's a tough place, and not to mention, like, I was just telling Monica the other day, the bathrooms are horrible there. I mean, there's giant creatures, like little bugs that live in the bathroom, and then it's like not nice, but it's not a porta potty. And then it's just city. I mean, I do like that we're in the water. The water area is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And the time of the year to go.
It's a unique area. Just flying into what is it, Minneapolis, right? Or yeah. So flying into Minneapolis and then having to drive like 3 hours.
That's track, yeah.
And then I'm like driving down the road, and I'm called Lily, and I'm like, okay, I've seen the 15th propane dealer. Like, oh, shit. And then I'm like looking for the ice pick thing, right? The scraper.
Yeah.
Like that's where the money is, right? It's under the scraper.
Well, so. You see all the trailers that they lower to the ground, and they're like, I'm like, what is that thing? And they're like, oh, it's for ice fishing. I'm like, oh, gets that cold here? This is an awful place.
Yeah,
you want to live here?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the track out there is not so bad because you can get. There's a lot of flights that go into Minneapolis because it's a big hub, so
yeah.
You can get in pretty quickly. But it's coming home when we leave the track and we go straight to the airport, and we're driving for hours to get to the airport, and we didn't have a lot of time, so no showering, and we get right on the plane and we're bolting out of there. So it's we just do our job and get out.
Yeah. So Brainerd, you think Brainerd's probably the least fave, or is it?
Brainerd, I would say the other thing is maybe I would like the accommodations at the racetrack better at Texas when we're there on a GP weekend, only because that is the most laborious weekend for Moto America itself, because we have to knock down the whole hot pit every session. We have to build the hot pit every session. We can't leave any of our equipment out there, and then we're all in very tight windows of time, and usually the windows of time are not in the most prime time of the day. And then there's no real bathrooms, so we got porta potties. That's it. Even though you're at one of the most greatest tracks in the nation, our combination.
Well, you guys are like the bastard stepchildren of the weekend fest in Texas, right?
But we're there and we're doing it. So
yeah.
In the end, I'm just griping, but in the end we're doing it. And I'm just glad that we're there, just doing it.
I mean, at least you guys didn't get your catalytic converter stolen off the rental car in Texas. Oh wait, actually.
That was so funny. We went out and, we go out to the rental car. We all hop in, and Fernando fired that thing up, and it sounded like a dragster. I'm like, wow, this thing's...
I'm like, wow, did somebody put a cam in this thing last night?
You look underneath, the wires are dangling. There's no pipe on it anymore.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that was funny. And then when you go through, when you go to Coda, there's a tunnel you drive through. So we're just like, stab the throttle. He whipped that throttle, and it was so loud inside that tunnel.
Oh, my God.
I was like, what the heck was that?
That's hilarious, man.
And it wasn't like some full-size car. This thing was like a little
shit box. It was a shit box.
It was a shit box.
Yeah. It's like a Kia Rio or something, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Thanks. I mean, when I went there and saw you guys, what was it, 2019? You guys were with JD Beach, right?
Yep.
And we were with Mithos, and Mithos invited you guys to barbecue and stuff after. And
oh, that was really cool that night. Yeah, we just came straight from the track, and we were kind of swamped and we were kind of beat, but that was really cool.
And you guys were wearing the Mithos uniforms, which were like snug, I guess you could say.
They fit great. I don't know what you're talking
about. I mean, they were almost as good fitting as the cycling jerseys we got at Daytona last year. Right? No, I think you described the Mithos ones as straight jackets.
Straight jackets, but then the sweatshirts were the opposite.
Yeah. Well, they built everything, because they're Europeans, right? So they're Europeans. They think all the Americans are fat. So they were just fitting everything for like a Texas medium. Right?
Whoever it was made for, I don't think they were even.
But hey, you guys look good in that stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
All right, so Cuddy Taylor's asking what your favorite cigars are.
My favorite cigars, I probably like VSGs through Ashton VSGs. Those are probably my favorite.
There you go. All right, and then let's talk about food then, because you get to go everywhere. What's the fancy place in Wisconsin that you were talking about? Was it Wisconsin with the wasabi or whatever?
The barbecue place that we went to is like a pig something. I don't even remember the name. It's like a barbecue spot right on the water, and right on, I think it's Lake Michigan, and it was pig something. Anyways, it was a barbecue place, really great place. We go there almost every year, and we always talk about the same story when Richard was like. And Richard tells it best, so it's kind of tough. But Richard wanted this. He's like, "Where's the hot sauce at?" He gets his steak or his meat, and he's all this stuff, and it's great food. And he's like doing Richard, "Where's the hot sauce at? You got any hot sauce?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I got hot sauce." And I was like, "Okay." Well, she's got hot sauce, and he's like, "Well, where's it at?" And she's like, "Okay." So she brings it out, and she goes, "That one." I think she said something like, "That one's hot, and that one's hotter." And then Fernando takes a dip with the tip of his fork and tries it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not eating that." And Richard's like, "Wah!" And he just starts pouring it on his steak, and he just starts eating it. And Richard did like, "I'm gonna eat this because I put it on there," and he just ate it, and he had beads of sweat rolling down his head. I was like, "Dude, you don't have to eat it. You look like you're hurting. Stop it." And he just manned it down. He just did it.
Yeah. So I mean, is there your favorite spot on the circuit? You're going, you're like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna get." For Daytona, my KYT helmets dude took us last year to some Thai place, and And I don't speak that language. He walks in, orders for everybody, and dude, it was awesome. So
Oh,
I hit him up and I'm like, yeah, dude, we're going to that Thai place, right? And he's like,
absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. So, like, is there a place like that on the circuit where you like, you're going there and you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, there's a handful of places like when we go to Laguna, we go to Hula's, and
Yeah.
I eat at Hula's a lot because every time I go to Laguna, I eat at Hula's, and I love Hula's. I love their food. It's a great, cool environment. But other places other than Laguna, probably where do we go? Firebird. We go to Firebird all the time when we go to what track is that? Pittsburgh International. Uh, Firebird, we go there almost 3 nights a week. I mean, 3 nights the whole time we're there.
Yeah.
So and we started trying to venturing off. We go to other places now, but we usually try to eat someplace enough to where we're sick of it, and then we go find someplace else after that.
Nice.
But yeah, it's more like just hanging out with.
The Bucky's breakfast burritos.
Those are delicious.
Or
Those are delicious.
actually they're called tacos for some reason, but they're burritos. Like,
And when they get delivered to the racetrack, they taste even better.
well, yeah. I mean, social media guy has to do that. Fire extinguisher guy has to do that.
Have you ever had a steak sandwich? I think they slice it right there at Bucky's. I mean, the sandwiches are great there.
No, but I will.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh my god.
It's a great place.
Yeah, so there's like no place where you're just like, nah, dude, the food there is pretty shit.
I remember once
Brainerd again,
we
maybe.
we went to Daytona and we were looking for a place to eat.
Yeah.
And, we're just going from place to place, just trying to find some place where it wasn't like a 3-hour wait and then 500 people in there. And we went to this biker bar, and someone read something like, "Oh, this is the place." We walk in, and it looks like what you would see in a movie, like biker dudes in there. I mean, rough
Did you
bikers.
guys walk in and the music stopped too?
Dude, the music's played. I mean, there's like neon lights everywhere, and dudes with beards like mine, but not with the coolies. It was
Oh,
like
shit.
just like rough, like they haven't showered in a couple weeks. And we walked in, we're like, I don't think they serve food here, and if they do, it's gonna be microwave food.
Yeah, dude.
He just says, dude, you guys just, you're just complainers. And he goes in, marches in, and we just like, all right, let's go with Richard. We
Yeah.
walk in, and I'm like, you're not eating here.
Yeah. Fernando's commenting. He says that the restaurant in Olympia is his top 3.
Oh, yeah.
Is that place we went to a bunch during the test, or did
I
you
think
guys
he's
find
the
another
Mexican
place?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get-
I remember. Yeah, we went to the Irish place on the first test there. We went there.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, the Irish place is what I'm thinking of.
which was okay. The beer was good, but the Mexican place was a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, you
But
guys.
a lot of these places, I don't remember the names. I just remember being there. And it's just like
Right.
it's one of the things that I'd miss if I quit racing. I'm like, man, there's all these cool places to go eat. I'll never see again.
It's like the frozen custard place outside of Jersey, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Bearded Jixer wants to ask you if you would talk about how the team dynamic has changed since Cam P has joined the team over the, quote, previous writer.
Yeah. Well, we try to tailor things to what helps a rider feel good about being in our crew. Like sometimes a rider will say, "Hey, can you do this?" And you just do it to make them feel like, "Hey, we're here for you, man. We're here to get everything done the way you want it." So it gives them confidence in what's happening.
Yeah.
But Cam P, he's kind of the opposite. He's just kind of like, "Yeah, whatever, man." I'm like, "Hey, I just adjusted the brake lever. I had to change the pump because we had to maybe make an adjustment or maintenance." I said, "Can you check the height?" I just kind of set it where I think, and he goes, "Yeah, man, it's there, so it's good." I'm like, "Whoa, this is different. I'm not used to that." After all the years,
Like-
I mean, there's very rare guys.
He's just like, oh, cool. It's the piece that I need is there. I don't give a fuck where it is. I just need it there.
He's like, if that's gonna slow me down, there's bigger problems. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So he's totally lax. He's really easy to work with, and it's a different environment for sure.
So Maurice is commenting now too. Holy shit, got the whole gang here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he says Cam's done very well. Love working with him. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you've worked with some riders, man. Like, do you have like a least favorite?
No, I don't have any
I
least
mean,
favorite.
like, look, you've just on this team alone, like, you've worked with several different riders just on this team.
I've
So,
heard of horror stories in the past of riders and their horrible habits that they have
yeah,
that they don't care about the crew, or they just, it's a different time now though. So
yeah,
most riders actually, they know the effort that we're doing, and we're not getting rich doing it, and we're doing it because we love it. And most riders in today's world all appreciate what we're doing. So it's the only environment I would want to work in. If I worked in the old environments of where a rider would throw things or cuss you out, I wouldn't enjoy that. And if I'm not enjoying it, I wouldn't do it.
yeah. I mean, look, I mean, just in the last few years, obviously, you've been on this team, and there's 3 championships in a row. Like, is there like extra pressure from the crew to continue the trend?
No, I think, I mean, obviously we always want to win. We always want the best combination to do our best, and have the tools to do our best, whether it be the equipment, whether it be our own abilities. So, no, I mean, we just keep doing what we do, and we keep marching forward and just do what we know what we're supposed to do. We're all professionals on the team. We've all been around for a little while. There's no kids on the team trying to learn their way in.
Right.
Richard put together a package where everyone's they're veterans in.
Right.
So we all just do our job, and as long as we do our job, then the riders can do their job properly.
Well, how about like the dynamic in the team? Obviously, there's 2 riders. Currently you're on one side, and there's another crew on the other team bike, right? Is there
Yeah.
do you guys have like a little bets or side bets or anything? Like, is there like a inter-team competition? Like, my guy's gonna get it this, like that kind of shit.
Well, we do want our riders, our personal rider. My rider is number 45, Cam P. So of course I want him to win, and not that I don't want Jake. I don't want him to lose, but I want my rider to win. And if there's going to be a second place, Jake would. I'd be glad to see Jake in second. But if my rider's not going to win, then I want to see Jake win.
Right.
I think it's more, we're more happier for whoever wins, as long as it's one of our guys, than wanting to. I mean, I wish 2 guys could win, but that's not how racing works.
Yeah.
One guy's got to win.
It's not T-ball.
No, it's
Right.
not T-ball. So, of course, I want my. And then this year, man, I think Jake better look out. Number 45 is looking pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's looking quick. Jake's still quick though. I mean, like at all the tests,
He's not going to make it easy for sure. And if we can win a couple, that would be great. And maybe a couple might turn into a few. But I do some stuff for Jake's side. I do a little bit with the engine stuff, and I help out where I can. If they need help, of course, Lee and I we go over to the other side and we step in and we do what we got to do. But yeah, it's more or less we encourage each other to do well, and we're stoked on either one of us doing well. But of course, you always want to beat your team.
So you were talking about some of the riders with weird traits and stuff. I mean, I heard stories. Steve Rapp told me this back in the day that like one of his teammates was John Skaczynski, and that dude like couldn't let his gloves touch each other.
I heard some weird things about his gloves.
Like weird shit like that. Like I don't think there's been anything like that on this team anyway, right? Well, maybe one rider had something similar to that, but
yeah, I mean, for the most part, no. There's no weird stuff going on. I mean, not on this team, but I've had riders where they leave garbage in the break room that we have to get rid of, and I'm like, hey, you got to throw your own garbage away. But other than that, it's no weird things.
yeah.
And no outlandish things either. They don't like do anything where like hazing us or anything weird
Right.
like that.
Yeah. Like I've heard some of that stuff too back in the day, right? Like all the hazing shit that used to go on.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just imagine working with like some lunatic like McGill or something, you know,
Yeah, and I heard years ago,
or Mladen.
the Herons used to be that way. I guess him and his dad used to be pretty awful with hazing, or tricking or pranking everyone, and which is fine, but they never hurt anybody. But Josh was kind of a trickster when we were first on the team.
Yeah.
He was different back then for sure.
Right on. Right on. Well, how about how about the overall like crew? Like, I'm sure you have like rental car stories and that kind of shit, right?
We don't really do much with rental cars.
Not anymore.
Richard's the one. Richard, I remember we were in like I don't know, some little tiny car. We always get clown cars. That's generally what we get, and we pile a bunch of big grown men inside these things. And I mean, we were in the grass. I don't even know what track we're at, but we were in the grass somewhere, and he was going at a pretty good clip, and then he decides to e-brake this thing, and I was like, up on the ceiling. I'm like, oh, this thing's gonna roll. If it catches, we're rolling. And we're grown men in this little tin can flying around. But
Right.
I don't drive. I'm not a driver. I'm usually sleeping. So
That explains a lot. I had to drive, I recall, when you were. I was like, oh man, yeah, yeah. I was like, oh shit. I guess I'm the fucking chauffeur this weekend. Great, appreciate it. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Hang on, I'm getting a. Somebody is asking about the tuna fish story. What's the tuna fish story? Rental car tuna fish story. This must be Fernando. This must be Fernando. I don't know. It's 707 number. So. Anyway. All right. So somebody's asking. Okay, since yeah, you love both riders on the team. Basically, you want them both to succeed. But which one has better hair?
ooh,
Team Man Bun, dude. Like which? I mean, you've got Jake. He's got that thing going, but then you got Cam P sharing hair care products with his wife, right?
something going with him. He's got this rock star look. Jake Moore has got the chill look. More grounded look. It's like he's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like Jake's more like Jake has that like I'm gonna start a cult look, right? And
I didn't say that.
And Cam looks like he's gonna play lead guitar. Like that's Yeah, okay, I get it.
And Jake,
That's
a
fair
lot of
enough.
people don't know that Jake has long hair. And for the most part, when he's racing, he's got that thing somewhere back there, and where Cam P looks like a lion's mane flying back there.
Dude, the lion's mane is right. I think Sarah shot a slow-mo video of him warming up last year, and it was like lion's mane flowing.
I don't know how that thing
Nice.
just turn into giant knots. Work hard to get that thing untangled.
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't shave for the show just so I could give you like some solidarity, but no, that's not like what you got. That's just not happening. Like I don't know how long you spend in the mirror looking at your face like that. What's
This
the
kind
deal there?
of turns into this. The cooler it looks. So and you got to smoke cigars too. I mean, that is necessary.
Oh, the cigar is a must then.
Yeah. So once you get one of these, suddenly this all starts working. You start smoking. Surprise! What happens?
Dude, you're gonna get me in trouble. So I rate Barry. He's out of Utah. He works at that shop called shit. I don't remember, but anyway, like he works at this shop that sells Yamahas and stuff, and he says that he feels like this year is the year that there's going to be a metal band formed in the Attack pit.
A metal band.
And if that was going to be the case, what would you say the band name would be?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm not good with names, right? Uh, I don't
No?
know. I think I'd have to go Attack.
Yeah.
Cool name.
Okay.
And you have like an 80s style. I mean, most of Richard's stuff is 80s style anyways, but
Hey, yeah, okay. Yeah, like some kind of weaponry, right? Little some kind of weaponry in the name. Oh, Irate Berry says the degenerates. It's like,
well, it does fit.
oh, now people are chiming in with names. Twisted Throttle. Uh, Ashley Nicole says Attack of the Hairy Munchkins. That's your kid, James. I
That's
guess.
me, Harry Munchkin.
Yeah, yeah. Maurice says it's only one black guy in the band. Then okay. Wow. Well, wow, dude. You just had to go there, huh, Mo? Thanks, buddy. I'll have to remind you about that at Daytona and give you shit about that. God damn. Just had to
I
go
didn't,
there.
I didn't even know he was black.
I
He
didn't
shows
either,
it.
bro. I just thought he was really tan.
Yeah, he is from a lot of sun down there.
Yeah, like he's a Florida man, dude. Like that's just what happens, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Jesus Christ. So the band names. I didn't think it was gonna go there, man. So how long, how long have you been part of the team? Richard's program seems to have the same people forever. Like the team, the people that are on the program just pretty much stay there. There must be
I was
something to
telling
that.
Richard, I was like, man, I've been with you for, I don't know, 5 years, 5+ years. And I was like, man, I deserve like some sort of like badge or ribbon or something I get to wear while I'm in the pits. And,
A set of steak knives. Set of steak
yeah,
knives.
I've been a nice watch maybe. And I've
Yeah,
been
there
with
you
Richard
go.
this long. And he says, oh, I've had guys with me for 10 years. I'm like, damn it, I got for like 5, 6 more years left. That's how long it's going to take before I outlast someone. So definitely, when he gets guys, he doesn't turn through them fast when he's got a guy he wants to keep for sure.
Yeah, like Fernando's been part of the game for a minute, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the guys, Walker's been around for a minute too, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, most of the guys have been around, and it seems like they're not going anywhere, man. Like he must be, I've heard people that leave the shop and leave Richard's program over the years, right? Because I've known him for 20 years now,
Yeah, yeah.
ish. And people used to always say like how hard it was to work for him and that kind of stuff. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like that guy's like a big teddy bear, man. Like
It's funny.
maybe they were just fucking up. There's like a way that you're supposed to do things, and if you don't do it the Richard way, then I guess it'll be trouble for you,
I mean,
right?
I think he prides himself being a military guy, and what he did in the military when he was in the military, and
Yeah,
I think there's certain things that that type of step process of earning your way through. And
yeah,
I think it's a little bit true to that. Like when I first came on with Richard, it was a different environment with Rich and I working together. And but as time progressed, and I worked with others similar to this type of mentality or workmanship, is once you earn your stripes, essentially, it's you earn a place where he doesn't necessarily feel like you're a complete idiot. You kind of know some stuff. You've done stuff. You've weathered through stuff. You've
yep,
done above and beyond, and we know what you're capable of, and that you're not the guy who's going to try to hide eating donuts around the corner while everyone else is working. Those are
right, right. Yeah, I mean, look, I've seen him interact with you guys, and he's just like, "Hey, Will, that, and the other has to happen," and you're like, you don't even respond. You just go do it,
yeah.
and there's no argument, and there's like a full trust in the guys that he does that with, and I would imagine that's why he keeps you guys around, and you guys stick around, right?
Definitely a race environment is different than anything else. Where race environment, you'll see the boss of Yamaha taking out the garbage. You'll see any of us will have to do whatever it needs to be done to get it done. It doesn't matter whether you're cleaning out the toilet in the truck, or if you're taking garbage, or if you're building a superbike engine. You do whatever it takes to get done. And where a lot of people's in work environment are like, oh, that's not my job description, or oh,
Yeah.
I've been doing this long enough. I don't do that. That's
What do you
not. That
mean I
doesn't,
have to work 40 hours in a week?
it doesn't exist at the racetrack. It's a totally
Right.
different environment, and that's part of that team environment. That get it done kind of environment is what's really enjoyable.
So you know what? This comment's gonna lead into my next question. So I'm gonna ask Ernie's question right now, Bearded Jixer. How often are crew members approached by other teams to potentially join them?
It's usually at the end of the season if there are headhunters of teams out there looking for guys. Uh, Usually, end of the season, you'll see suddenly all the mechanics start kind of standing a little bit taller. They're like, "Hey, how you doing, man? Hey, nice seeing you. Hey, good morning." And you're like, "Hey, you never speak to me at all. Like, you never talk to me. You never say hi to me. And now you're being so friendly to me." And because they don't know if they're like, "Hey, maybe I might be calling you for a job,"
Yeah.
or maybe you might be calling me for a job, or maybe we might need a guy and we want you to come on the team. And that kind of gets a little bit. Everyone kind of perks up at the end of the season, and then you
Yeah.
might get a phone call here and there, and uh, for an inquiry to find out what are you doing next year. Like, are you going to
Yeah.
stay with the same team? Or I've had quite a few calls in the past, but I'm like, no, man, I'm good. I'm happy where I'm at, and I like the team I'm with. It's not always about the money, because it's about enjoying yourself and really having fun on. I mean, I could go do something else and make more money, but I really like going on the road and racing with the team.
Right on. All right, so this leads into my next question. Thanks for that question, Ernie. The next question is, and you and I kind of talked about this, and Richard's been asked this a million times, but like, what? Say a dude just graduated MMI, right? And he's spinning wrenches, a line mechanic at a dealer or whatever, and he wants to become you. He wants to do what you're doing. Like, is there like a path that somebody could just be steered on to go that way, or how does that work?
Yeah, like so, it it all depends on whether you really want, like anything, right? In life, if you want something, you're gonna get it. So I
Like, how
think that
bad do you really want it?
how bad do you really want it? So I've told guys, I'm like, man, if you really want it, show up to the events, talk to the team owner, talk to the manager, talk to the guys on the team, tell them what you're doing, just kind of show your face, get familiar, and if you don't get hired, then make it to the next round, make it to as many rounds as possible, and invest a little bit of time and money in order to go and say, hey, look, I'm willing to volunteer, I'm willing to do whatever it takes so I can show you and prove to you what I'm capable of. It's like I said, if you want it bad enough, you're gonna do whatever it takes. Like, I've thought about when I was much younger, whether I wanted to work on a GP team, and I was like, well, if I want to work on a GP team, if I really want it, I can't just call up a GP team and apply. Where's your application at? I would go to the events, talk to the managers, and keep pestering them, keep showing my face and showing what I've been doing. I'm working currently on this team, or in the beginning, start off working for a local guy, go to a club event and help out guys at club events, because when you apply to Yamaha or Attack Performance or Westby Racing, and you say, "Oh man, I've been working with club guys for the last 3 years, and I work with this guy and that guy, and I've been volunteering, and I'm willing to volunteer on your team if I could." That's just to get your feet wet, and you kind of know what it's like to work at a racetrack, and you know what it's like to put in the 15, 20-hour days if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to see a few guys kind of do that route. I mean, the volunteer thing on the race team side, but also I've seen guys that, like that guy Jared Fixler, right? Like that dude's got the shop there in Hollywood, and
Yeah.
like he'd worked with club guys for a long time, and then last year he went on the road, did the nationals with Ezra.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I was
that's
impressed. I was stoked when he told me about that. I was like, man, that's awesome. We need more guys out here on the pro circuit, and if you have the capabilities, the funding, and being able to get out there and do it, uh, I think I watched his thing with you. It's like he said, it's not easy when you go out there at first. You just got to go out there and do it. And just like anything, if you want it bad enough, you're going to do whatever it takes to get there, and
yep.
it will get easier over time. I mean,
Will
when I
it
met,
though? Will it get easier, or will you just be used to the pain, right?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you have to be kind of ready for either, right?
Yeah. Okay.
When I met Amin bought a R6 from Mach 1 Motorsports, and that's when I was working there, and I wasn't working with racers too much, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna race AMA, and I went, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. You just bought a street bike, whatever. And then next thing I know, he's kind of just doing some local stuff, and I think Tyler O'Hara was riding the bike, and then Tyler was really kind of a small guy back then. And then next thing I know, he's like doing some pro stuff, and I was like, "What is this guy?" And he's showing up in like a graffiti truck or some, whatever
Yeah.
stuff, and he's doing whatever he can to make it happen. And he kept pushing and pushing and pushing to grow. And it's that kind of thing where I see if you really want it, you'll do whatever it takes to get there. Now, come short of doing bad decisions that don't help your longevity in life,
Right.
you should do whatever it takes. Obviously, don't commit suicide by doing something stupid.
Or I've been kind of reading this book of Randy Lanier. Like maybe don't sell drugs, and end up in the prison for 30
Yeah.
years or whatever.
And I've seen teams where they do some shady stuff where the team dissolves because it catches up to you.
Yeah.
So do things that are going to help your longevity and in the career life that you're trying to push for.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think you and I kind of had a similar conversation when I was talking about starting this thing,
Yeah.
like start a race club. They said,
Yeah, it's
fun,
easy.
They said, yeah, right. Yeah. So, by the way, this jacket I'm wearing came from Chris from CTML. He's the title sponsor of the race of CRA. So.
What's CTML? What is that?
I'm guessing it's Chris, Taylor, Mason, Lee. I don't know.
Okay.
Like it's his kids, I'm sure. Big Chili, he's like one of my TrackDaz guys that I've known forever, and
Yeah.
he's doing really well with this consulting firm that he's got down in San Diego area. And dude, he's big sponsoring CRA,
Yeah.
man. Like I think it's like $1,000 to win that race.
Ooh.
Which is pretty cool, So yeah. Anyway, check
You
that
just
dude
have
out. He'll make you a racer page or whatever if you want.
Yeah.
So just hit him up.
Yeah, I unfortunately missed the last your first round this year. We just did the test, and I didn't want to.
I tried to scumbag you into staying to be my guy, dude.
You did the Button Willow Iron Butt thing, and you stayed there. I don't know how many days were you there? Like 7 days, 6 days.
I was there from Tuesday through Sunday.
That's a long run at Button Willow for sure.
It's a minute. It's a minute and a half.
Yeah, and then with all I unfortunately don't have a lot of customers in CRA, so I'm trying to get all this wintertime stuff done.
Well, it doesn't really help if you're not showing up to help them.
Yes,
But I'm
you're
just saying,
absolutely right.
do you really want them, Will? I mean, using your own words, like,
sad.
how bad do you want those racers?
It's true, and I just, man, I was really sad to not go because then I would have missed a week's worth of work here at the shop, and I'm the only guy here. I mean, I got help, but without me here, it's like the doctor's office without the doctor in it, and then it's like the ship's end, it stops, it doesn't run. So it's a tough one. I do want to make the events, but at the same time, I have to get the work done, and yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I mean, there's some additional comments coming in. Barry says that he had a blast helping in a Motor America pit last year, super fast paced. He said he would do it for free if he had a plane ticket all the time. Well, that's not really doing it for free, bro. You got to buy your own plane ticket as you're volunteering, right?
Sometimes you got to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I know a guy that does that.
Yeah, he.
There's a guy that I don't know. Comes and helps out and does timing and all that, and like flies to Portugal for free and all, does social media. Like I know that guy, dude. I know all about it. You gotta buy your own shit first, man.
I think he was speaking about Maurice. I think Maurice, lots of times he pays for his
Yeah,
own.
dude.
I think they get his hotel once in a while, but most of
Yep.
the time he's paying his own way. And
Yep.
he shows up to the events. He's working for us. I mean, he's not sitting around eating donuts. He's working all day.
Oh, dude, Modog is like, dude, that guy never stops, right?
And he's doing
I'm
it for
like,
you.
fuck, dude, like, get out of my way, bro. Sorry,
Yeah.
shit, right? But like, I mean, either that or just don't want to get knocked over by Walker, running around, right? But yeah, I mean, what you're saying is totally true, man. Like, maybe if you want to be part of that team or you want to be in that world, you just got to jump in,
Yeah, you just got to do it. And sometimes it's like, well, hey, you got to pay for your own flights. You got to do whatever you got to do if you want to be part of it. Because if you don't, then you don't, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's you might find a different way around it and try to figure out how to get into it. Like I didn't have to do that, but I was working with racers that moved up, and I moved with them, and it kept progressing from there.
Right on. So do you miss club racing at all?
Yeah, every time I go, I have a really good time at club because it doesn't have the same stress levels that we have at a pro event. Pro event, I do whatever it takes. Like I'm come short of, which I have done in the past, hurting myself or abusing my body in order to do what I have to do.
Like what? Like how do you mean abusing your body? I remember you fucked your back up or something, right?
Oh, Indianapolis. What was that with Cambodia? And man, you remember how? Did you go to Indy?
I did not go to Indy.
Dude, they make us park the truck like a quarter mile away from the garages, so we have to ferry everything back and forth. So doing all of that, and then I was upstairs, and upstairs is made for micro midget people.
It's perfect for Fernando.
He's not an upstairs guy. So we're up there and we're moving engines, and the only way you can do it is when your body is at a 90-degree angle and you're picking up these engines. So I did that for a while, and I've done it in the past, and I still do it. But I think I just maybe twisted wrong or whatever, and I don't want to make a long story short, but I ended up locking up in the bathroom on the way home on Sunday, and I was at a park. We were just hanging out, smoking stoves, and then I had to call Fernando on speakerphone because I couldn't let go of the sink, and I had to call him and say, "Hey, you got to come get me out of the bathroom, bro. I can't get out." And I rode a wheelchair from that park bathroom all the way to my house from Indianapolis to Sacramento.
Oh my God.
I've never been so embarrassed in my life.
I mean, I think that was like an episode of King of the Hill or something, right?
I'm like getting in the wheelchair. I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, maybe I can get up. I'm like, nope, can't move. And I've always told guys when guys tell me, oh, my back, and I'm like, dude, shut up, pussy, shut up.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I have a whole nother appreciation because I never had any back issues until that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm getting old, so I'm not quite I'm not quite as old as you yet, but like I broke my back racing like 5 years ago, and man, that's the gift that keeps on giving,
Yeah, that's tough to recover from something like that because I mean I had injury, but yours was like injury.
Yeah, dude.
And
just a heads up, your wife says that Fernando's your work husband.
He is.
Oh man, I'm so using that, dude. I'm finally like, thanks for the ammo, Monica. Appreciate that. Jeez. But yeah, so you missed out last weekend, man. You missed watching. I got punted. I got to go. I rode my R1 through the dirt a bit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it didn't fall down, but
that's good.
Little punt action. No, didn't hurt nobody.
That's scary.
It was, dude. I was like, bro, this is my first weekend back. I'm like, not again. And I was like,
it's beautiful.
I was like, fuck it, I'm letting go of the brakes. And then somehow dodged the lake out there, and the guy and we kind of drag raced in the dirt to get back on the track down the straightaway.
Was it muddy at all when you went off?
Oh yeah, it was muddy as shit, but like we went around it. You know, we went around that big mud puddle right there.
Yeah.
But that guy had punted me on Friday going into the sweeper. Like I had to take the route to Star Mazda.
Wow.
So you know, afterwards, you know, I didn't get all huffy puffy with the guy and like go threaten him or something because that's stupid. So the next morning in the writers' meeting, I was like, "Hey, dude, like, are we gonna make it 3? Like, we still got some more racing today, bro. We can make it 3 for the weekend, right?" So, yeah, that's it was a good time.
It's tough to not get emotionally tied up when you're at the racetrack and you're
For
doing
sure.
what you love. You're there because you love doing this, and then you know the possibility of catastrophic collision, the damaging your body or damaging your bike, and then not being emotionally tied up with all that is really difficult.
It
I mean,
is. I was
you
just stoked to be
there.
there, dude. I you know, like I was just stoked to be there.
I mean, you've been there where you get clobbered or you get in an accident or something
Yep.
happens, and you're like, well, that just cost me like 15 grand, 20 grand, and you're like, well, I just move forward. I mean, what am I gonna do? Beat it out of this guy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was actually kind of on the receiving end of something like that too at the end of the weekend. The last race of the weekend, I'm in third, and I'm hurting. You know, shit just don't work anymore. And so like I'm in third, and I'm doing the classic buzz the tower to this checkers. You know,
Yeah.
like, and I do that. I did that all weekend. You know, and mostly it was like because the fucking starter was showing us the white flag twice and stuff. I was like, is it really the white flag or is it like the pretend white flag? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do that. I finish the race. And then afterwards, you know, after across the checker, this dude that was in the race behind me was pulled up next to me. And he's like shaking his fist at me like violently. And I'm like, and yelling something. I have no idea what he's saying. But I'm like, I can't understand him. So I'm just like, oh, cool. Right? And I just keep riding.
That's
and,
the best.
and then he's just more mad, right? He's more
Yeah.
mad. And I'm like, okay, he's mad about something. You know, whatever. So I just sped up a little bit and exited the track on that cool off lap.
Yeah.
So now I'm in my pit. I'm standing in my chones and a t-shirt. And this dude comes up and he's still wearing his leathers like a Pop Warner kid that just got his shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Right? And dude, it was on, dude. I was like, wow,
You
bro.
still on fire.
He was still beefing big time, dude.
Wow.
Like accusing me of stuff, and I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. Like I don't have eyes in the back of my head, man. Like, had you gone to the right, like you would have been clear. Like I was, you know, like I came out and I buzzed the tower, and I guess he chose to try to pass me on the left. I didn't see him, and I guess he had to roll out of it and got beat. And
Wait, let me ask you. When you buzzed the tower, did you take it all the way to the wall, or was there room?
they're almost to the wall, dude.
Almost to the wall, but not to the wall.
Yeah, because I wanted to. I wanted to like get as close to the starter as I could. You know, that was, you know, it's like a classic thing I've done for years. I mean, I remember doing it at MRA even back in the day, and like the starter over there jumped over the wall because he wasn't expecting that shit. And you know, I remember MRA officials in Colorado like pulled me into the office and like gave me the "don't ever fucking do that again" speech. But this starter knows me, and I mean I've been doing that shit since Craig Hubert at Willow. So
Now, is there a rule in CRA about weaving or swerving like that?
I don't believe so, but I wasn't sweeping or I wasn't. I literally had one trajectory from the corner to that.
I mean, the old days, 125 and 250s have no air filters.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily do like a GP turn coming out of the last corner,
Yeah.
going to Buck Willow or Big Willow, same thing.
Yeah.
I would slowly drift, especially when I know they're in my draft. I would slowly drift to the wall, but I would get my elbow touching the wall. And then all the debris that's on the ground, if you're going to get in my draft, you're going to eat a lot of dirt.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh man, that's cheating. I'm like, well, then don't get so close to me.
Yeah, I mean, You know, it used to be like no weaving, right? Like at least if you're gonna make a veer on one direction, you can only do one of those. You can't just
Yeah.
it's not like zigzagging or weaving or anything
Right.
like
Right.
that. I mean, the reality is, I mean,
There's-
dude was really upset, and I was like, he probably feels like an idiot after, but whatever.
and it's unfortunate that, yeah, like one, obviously you don't want to make a guy feel that way.
No,
That's not
dude, no,
cool.
not at all. But at the same
Uh,
time, I'm like, bro, I don't have mirrors on my bike. How am I supposed to know you're behind me on the left? Like,
yeah.
your choice to do that, not mine. Fuck.
It,
But
it is it is tough, and it is frustrating from his point of view, and I understand the frustration part, but you just keep fighting forward, and you just. But when you've been doing it like again, if it's a professional, you're a little bit different attitude versus someone who's just doing it for fun. Again,
yeah,
it's like man, this is all I wanted to do was beat Dustin Coiner, and then you
yeah,
end up poo-pooing that, and then he's not happy.
yeah, yeah. Maybe there's some of that too. Maybe there's some of that too.
Yeah,
But like I don't have any ill feelings for that guy. I actually like that dude, and so
yeah.
hopefully he calms down. And it was a hell of a weekend that you missed out on, man. Like it was like a country song for me. You know that, right? Like, dude, Thursday morning, like we're at the track. My wife gets a call from the kennel, had to
Uh,
leave. Yeah, like our dog died, and then
and I'm sorry about that. That's
yeah,
awful. I have a couple of dogs myself, and that's
yeah,
awful.
dude. It's like it's our pit bull mix. She ended up passing, and
Yeah.
Lily had to go and put her down by herself.
Yeah, you weren't
So
there. Yeah,
that
it's tough.
sucked. And then so I ended up leaving later, but then I came back and I rented one of my R7s to this guy from Canada, or he'd come out from Kuwait or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this dude goes out, doesn't even make it a corner, smashes the bike.
No, no.
Yeah, so like I mean, literally, dude. So I mean, you could see the country song building, right? Like my dog dies. This dude borrows my bike, smashes it, and I'm like, all I need now is like some dude to steal my truck and my wife. Like then it'd be like the trifecta, right? And I was just like, God damn, So it's like that's kind of like how the weekend was going, and so to have it end with that, like I was describing earlier, it was just
Yeah.
kind of fucked up, But yeah, you should have been there, man. Like I tried to hire you on to be my guy for the weekend, and you're like, nah, man, I can't be a button wheeler for 7 days.
That's a long time. I've never been a button wheel that long ever in my
I was
life.
like, you did it last year, bro, and you're like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm not doing it.
I think there was a shorter day. We might have tested on like Wednesday, Thursday, and then I was there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with you.
Oh, that's right. We weren't there Tuesday, Wednesday, and then having
Yeah.
a track day Thursday. No, it was Tuesday, Wednesday last year, and you skipped Thursday, Friday, and came out Saturday morning.
Oh, maybe that's what it
That's
was.
what happened was. Yeah. So you fucked up and like you bailed on me. That's I'm pouring the guilt trip on really thick.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make up for it.
You're gonna have to work for half off next time. No? No?
No, maybe not.
You were talking about maybe coming to the Arizona track.
Yeah, I do want to do that. I think I can make that. I think it's not the same weekend as the Moto America weekend, so I
Yeah.
do want to do that.
Yeah, okay.
Track
Yeah,
me excited. I've never been to that track.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think you'll have to fly there instead of drive this time because it's
Yeah,
far,
probably
dude.
because it's south of Phoenix, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, an airline ticket's a lot cheaper than paying for your gas.
yeah. Sometimes it's tough. Like as a mechanic or a race shop, it's tough because I mean, I am a bit of an ambulance chaser because every time I go with my van, I bring back 2, 3, 4 bikes.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get more bikes back to my shop because guys, the incidences happen. And they're
Yeah.
like, hey, can you take it back with you? Or even not an incident. They're like, oh, can you take care of that for me? Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Take it
Yeah.
back. So if I fly there, I'm more or less, yeah, you're gonna have to drive all the way back to my
You're like,
place.
oh, throw it in Coiner's trailer. I'll see him at the test.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Wow. That's
And then I'm
rough.
trying to get Uber rides for bikes to come back to the shop.
Yeah, I hear that. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Well, you know what, Will? It's been a good chat, buddy. Like, I guess I'll see you next week at the test. Hopefully.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like it, but if not, then I have a lot of work to do at the shop, and we'll be busy doing that. And
And if I don't
Then
see
I'll
you next
see you
week,
at
I know
Daytona.
we'll see you at Daytona.
Yes, for sure.
And I ordered the shirts this time, and they're not cycling jerseys. I made sure.
Have you tested them, Rhett? Have you
Well,
tested
they're
them?
the same ones that we had at Portugal, and those were okay.
Those were good. Those were
Yeah.
great.
You know, I mean, as long as you weren't like Chuck snagging it on everything.
Are they the exact same ones at Portugal?
They're the same kind.
Okay.
It's the same brand of shirt, but I think I mixed the colors up a little bit. And obviously, there's some kind of Daytona shit on there, and not World Superbike stuff. So
Right. Perfect.
yeah, and I'm sure the team will sell those to the fans. So, you know,
Yeah.
it'll be fun. It'll be
Are
fun.
you guys going to market those and sell those this year?
We did last year, so I
Yeah,
would
you
imagine
did. That's pretty
Richard's all
good.
about making money on the shirts, I guess. So,
That's cool.
you know, it helps fund the program a little bit. You know,
I get it. I get it all year long. Where guys say, "Hey, where can I buy that shirt from?" And
Yeah.
unfortunately, team shirts are special shirts.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean,
it's-
we did them. We did them for Daytona. We did it for Portugal. I'm sure we'll do them for Daytona again. And the reality is, the money that we make from the sales of those shirts, I think Richard uses it basically to help cover the fuel costs to drive the semi to Daytona and back. You know.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is that effort and the World Superbike effort really was more on Richard's program and not Yamaha's.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that, I mean, those projects are like Richard's just for fun project, right? Which sounds crazy because it's such an expense to do that. So yeah.
Going back to that, he loves it, and that's the reason why he does it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great. And that's some of the reason why I like working with Richard. It's not just a business; it's also his passion. And
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't understand what it takes. Like when you say gas for the semi, I mean, it's a lot of money. It's like
Yeah,
some
dude.
race program for the season to get to Daytona and back for us.
Yeah, yeah, for funsies, right?
Yeah, just for fun. Yeah, just to be able to be
Yeah.
able to do.
Yeah,
And all those guys out there that are in the top 10 of Daytona. I mean, all those guys are putting in the same effort. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all working hard and spending the money to get out there.
Well, you know what? It's been a good chat. Will, talk a little bit about your shop, like how, like I'll put it all in the description as well. But like, how does somebody get a hold of you, man?
So the main thing is, if you see me, others is just through social media, through Facebook and Instagram. That's how most of people get a hold of me. Obviously, I have a phone number, but it's not displayed everywhere. And
Okay.
Mostly social media, though.
Do you have like a website or something?
No website, just because I'm not. So there's a couple of things. It's not a big of a business where I need to have like so many people coming into my shop.
I just got a question from Richard.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So before you go, you got to tell me this. Richard wants, and this is because the skipper asked. So I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
absolutely.
you got to ask it, right?
I'm all
So,
ears.
Like he asked to ask you who your favorite crew guy is on the team.
My favorite crew guy, I'd have to say Walker.
Why is Walker your favorite crew guy?
Because Walker is the guy who remember where I said is sacrifice your own well-being or your own body? He will sacrifice his body to make the team better.
Wow.
He will sacrifice everything to go better for the team. Not
That. Yeah.
and that's something that you don't find every day. You don't see that in people. And when you look into Walker's eyes, he's got that. He's got that look.
Dude, he's got that
that
1,000-yard stare. Like he's seen some shit, right?
Like there's no one on the team other than Richard. I mean, Richard is the guy, but I'm talking about crew guys
Yeah.
that are willing to do that type of effort.
Right on, man. Well, great shot, buddy.
Yeah, it was
and I'll put a link to your Instagram page and stuff. If you have a website or whatever, I'll get it from you after the show.
okay.
And I'll put that in the description in case a club racer from out west wants to go talk to the bearded wonder.
Yeah. It's funny. When I was at Chuckawalla, I had some guy walk up and goes, "Hey, aren't you on the Attack team?" I'm like, "Dang, you recognize me!" It was cool.
How'd you recognize me? Could it be the fucking beard and mustache? I don't know. Could it be? Like how many dudes look like that? Like with the
Right?
yeah.
That's my thing. It's my thing. I gotta have it.
Right on, man.
All
Well,
right.
good times, buddy.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Do I gotta sign off?
No, I'm gonna do that myself.
All right.
All right.